Jill, how many hours a day do you typically spend on Facebook?
I spend around 4 hours on Facebook a
Steph,
day.
how many hours a day do you typically spend on Facebook?
Altogether probably about 1 or 2 hours. Okay, 1 hour.
How many hours a day do you think you spend on Facebook?
Probably about 3.
And do you think it's affected you academically or socially?
Academically, I'd say procrastination.
2 hours.
So how many hours a day would you say you spend on Facebook?
Oh, like 2 to 3.
Yeah, maybe it's 3 to 4. Probably around 3.5.
And would you say it's affected you academically?
Like, you mean what?
Like, have your marks dropped?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you know, it kind of, you're trying to study, you're playing on Facebook instead, so side chat.
And what about socially? Do you spend less time with friends and family?
No, I got my roommates, I'm pretty good, but
But I spend less time for homework.
yeah,
That's
so
fine.
not really socially, because you're socializing.
I kind of lose sleep over it sometimes too.
I spend about 5 hours on Facebook.
4 to 5 hours.
How many hours typically a day do you girls spend on Facebook?
About like
2 hours.
2 hours? And would you say that it's affected you socially or academically?
Probably like socially, just because, actually talking to people instead of on the internet. And academically, I don't think so.
About 2.
Jamal, how many hours a day would you say you spend on Facebook?
2 to 3.
Would you say that it affects your basketball career?
Yeah, I would. No.
I spend about 2 hours a day on Facebook.
1 hour.
So how many hours a day do you think you spend on Facebook?
Maybe 3 or 4 hours, or maybe more than, I don't know. Most of the time, my screen is open.
Don't lie!
It's
You're
open
always
on Facebook.
aren't you?
Actually, I'm PhD student in chemistry. I don't have enough time, but usually at home, when I get home, my laptop is open on Facebook.
How many hours a day are you on Facebook?
Well, I think I had the screen always open, but I'm not into it. Like, whenever I get an update or something, so I just check it.
Maybe 2 hours is on and off.
Be honest.
Yeah, like I check the updates. So overall it would be 2 hours.
I spend 1 or 2 hours a day. I spend around 1 or 2 or 3 per day.
I spend about over 7 hours a day.
I spend exactly 30 minutes and 17.2 seconds on Facebook every single day.
The minimum amount of time I spend on Facebook is probably like 5 or 6 hours.
Banana nut?
Which one?
Triple chocolate.
I spend 7 hours on Facebook.
So how many hours a day do you spend on Facebook?
Probably like 7.
And would you say it's affected you academically?
Yeah, my marks gone down like 10%.
What about socially?
Yeah, I don't hang out with my friends a lot in person, just check them out on Facebook, all their pictures and stuff.
A lot, because I like to creep it real,
How many hours a day do you think you spend on Facebook?
I say about 9 hours.
9 hours? And do you think it's affected you academically?
With procrastination, yes. Don't find any other way to get off.
And what about socially?
Not so much. You can make plans on there.
Yeah, I spend 1 hour a day on Facebook.
I spend roughly 3 hours on Facebook on a typical day.
And would you say it's affected your life socially?
Sort of depends the time of year. Halloween, I like to creep on the pictures, see how good I look. Depends what I look like usually on Facebook because I love myself and I like to see how good I look.
How many hours a day do you think you typically go on Facebook?
Oh, probably about 3.
And do you think it's affected you academically?
Yes, absolutely.
Has your marks gotten lower or?
It plummeted. Instead of studying for midterms, I'm talking to my friends.
And what about socially?
No, I'm pretty sure Facebook says I have 500 friends, so if anything, I am more social.
Do you lose sleep over Facebook?
Do you spend more than 1 hour a day on Facebook?
Have you become obsessed with old love?
You ignore work in favor of Facebook?
Does the thought of leaving Facebook leave you in a cold sweat?
If you have any of these symptoms, please seek medical attention immediately because you have FAD, Facebook
Addiction?
disorder. For serious, it's real.
There's an online world where I am king of a little website dedicated to me, with pictures of me and a list of my friends and an unofficial record of the groups that I'm in. Before the internet, friendship was so tough. You actually had to be in people's presence and stuff. Who would have thought that with a point and a click, I would know that Home Floats is your favorite flick? Used to meet girls hanging out at the mall, but now I just wait for them to write on my wall. Take a look, you're hooked on Facebook.
Hey, it says that Link's status has changed. He's playing the recorder.
In their picture on Facebook. If the internet crashed all across the land, or my Facebook account was deleted by the man, I carry around a picture of my face and a summary of me typed out on a page. Facebook, I'm hooked on Facebook. It's more than a want, it's more than a need. I'd shrivel up and die without my mini-me. Take a look, you're hooked on Facebook.